also heard that you met Michael Jordan at one point.
Yes.
I'm pretty sure you met him through an under-16s 3-on-3 tournament.
Correct. It was the first time they've ever ran a 3-on-3 here in Australia. It was a national 3-on-3 sponsored by Gatorade, and that's when Mike was doing all the Gatorade commercials and what have you. So what came of that was that my young son Austin, at the time, they got a group of guys together. We got 4 players, and said, could I coach him? And I was working full time at that point, but I said, it was on the weekend. Okay, we'll squeeze it in. It was in Western Australia in Fremantle, and we ended up winning that section. So he was pretty excited and stuff because the carrot was that if you won your section, then you get an all expense paid trip to go to Sydney. And then if you won that section in Sydney, you got an all expense paid trip to go to California, Santa Barbara, and meet Michael Jordan. And you can get a chance to spend an hour with him, ask him anything you want, and he's going to accommodate you. So we ended up winning the West Australia. We went to Sydney. We won the first 3 rounds, and then we had to play 4 rounds. We had to play Melbourne, who were very, very tough. They had a couple big solid guys, and my son Austin, pretty much like me, is a shorty, but he had a skill set that was pretty nice. He became an All-American at Indian Hills Community College and won a national championship in America, along with my son CJ. So they both had gone to the same school, and then when CJ left, Austin came in. So it was kind of always a little tag team. But we got to the final. We were down sort of like 2 points with a short time to go in the game, and then Austin called timeout. So I'm like, "What are you doing? Calling timeout? Like, go play." He started crying, and he was like, "Dad, tell him to give me the ball." He didn't, and he had a little adjective before that, right? And all right, but settle down. Settle down. We all right. He's no time is running out. I want to see Mike. So I designed the play up and cleared him out after a pick and roll. And, man, he just shook this guy down and, boom, scored a bucket, then stole the inbounds pass from them, and then dribbled out the clock. And, bam, we're going to see Mike. And he was so excited. And, of course, when we got there, it was everything it was made up to be. Mike looked after the kids, gave them gifts. We got photos with him, like the one you seen. And then Mike asked me, like, where you from? Because he was wondering, I'm representing the Australian team. Like, he said, you don't look Australian. I said, I'm from the same place you're from. And he goes, well, like, where? I'm from Brooklyn. I said, that's where I was from. I'm born in Brooklyn. He goes, where out in Brooklyn? And we weren't too far from each other. I said, I was in Flatbush. He said, oh, wow, that's where I'm from. So as it talked out, he said, why don't you come out tonight with me? And I went, sure. All right. And I knew I was responsible for these 4 young men, but I went and got them all pizzas and Coke and said, y'all lock up. Don't leave the room. I'm going out with Mike. And he sent the limousine for me, and we went out to the club. When we got in the club, we had to get like a police escort into the bar and stuff. And man, people want him. They wanted a piece of him so bad because this is when he was filming his first movie. What's it called?
Space Jam.
Yeah, the first Space Jam movie. So that was filmed in a dome and stuff, and we were there to watch that all set up and what have you, and then we went to this club, and Jesus Christ, the girls and stuff that was just chasing this guy. He had to get behind the bar with the police, and he made us all drink. So the guys that he had in the car with him, and of course that's when he was getting ready for his comeback game too. That comeback year, I should say. And it was a pleasure. So he remembered me from being from Brooklyn, New York, the same place as he's from. And his mom came out here. She went up to Broome and on a silent trip. But probably, Mike was one of the pros. But like Magic Johnson, I had a chance to have him play with my Canberra Cannons team. If you go on YouTube, you can see that game, Magic Johnson with Canberra Cannons, and you'll see the highlights. So I coach Magic, so that's probably another one of my highlights from actually playing in Australian basketball. And you can't get any better 2 icons of the sport than Mike and Magic.
Magic, yeah, 100%. I agree with you.